So one of the most frequently asked questions is about how to reset. How do I get back trading after blowing an account? And we've all been there. I've blown many accounts, and most traders do, whether they're starting at the beginning or even when they're experienced, still go through times where they're blowing accounts because they don't go through their rules. So this quick video, I just want to go over a few things of what we can do, how we can rebuild ourselves, get our confidence back, and the skills that we can use to reset our trading. So it all starts with the big loss. The big loss, that's what we get. We get overconfident. We get a little bit lucky at the beginning of trading, and then we do things wrong. We don't go by rules, or we just get a little bit unlucky, whatever it may be. We've not learned, and we have a big loss. Now, when we have that big loss, we don't know what to do. It's one of those things that we just do not know what to do. We then want to go and start revenge trading, revenge sizing, which means basically we then start to increase our leverage to try and get the loss back because we had that big loss. And we don't stick to any rules. We're trying to win it all back. By doing this, we're breaking our rules. And that's a big problem when we break our rules. Because when we do break our rules in trading, we have to reset our mindset, or we then accumulate bad habits which we had at the beginning of our trading journey before we put all this effort in, and then we break our rules. And then guess what? At the end of that, we then go and blow our account. The amount of times that I did this when I first started trading, and the amount of times that I have this question in my DMs, etc., on YouTube is unbelievable. And I think it's because we don't know how to control our mindset. We don't know how to get hold of ourselves when this is happening because it's uncomfortable. The big loss, the revenge trading, think I'll get it back. We may get a little bit lucky. Every so often you may get lucky, but you've still broken your rules, and inevitably you're going to blow accounts. So what can we do when it comes to this situation? So there's steps that we need to cover before we can then show you strategies to get back where you need to get to. Now, the number one thing is do not refund your account. When you first start, say you start with $100 or $1,000, when you go through that big loss and you blow an account, you just think you need to just add money to that account. That is not true, because what you will do, you're not learning, and you will do the same habits, the same risk management again. And actually, you will just keep blowing account after account after account. I've done this. I've seen many people do it before, and many people will continue because you just think by funding, you'll get better at trading. And actually, you won't. You just keep losing more money. So step number 2, we've got to go back to where it all started. What made us have that big loss? Why did we change our game plan? Why did we go against our rules? What was happening within our personal life? Are we not working out? Is that a relationship? Is it something to do with work? Where are we within ourselves? And find out why we took the risk and had that big loss. There could be many factors. We all go through different stages in our life. There could be many factors. And that's why it's clear to have a very clear mindset when it comes to trading. So go back to the source. If we ever need to figure a problem out, we need to go back to the source and why we made that decision. And then we need to get a rules-based trading plan. And I'll show you some steps, etc., what I have been through, what I still do to this day to help my clients, etc., and fellow traders within the community. We have to get back to a rules-based trading plan. Now, you may have had a trading plan that you jotted down before when you first started trading, and you may think that you don't really need to go back to it now. Now, if you're blowing accounts, you're going to have to go back to that or just set a new guide at exactly what you need to do within your trading plan. It's very simple. And then you need to find a simple trading strategy that works for you. Now, not every strategy is going to work for you. It needs to fit around what you're familiar with, what you're comfortable with, and then we need to stick to that and be religiously just sticking to that trading plan. So once we know that we need to do these 4 steps, we then need to put those in action. And that is in our trading rules. This is the trading plan that I would suggest that you start with. It's very similar to a lot of people across the trading board, the YouTube, whatever it may be. But it's very simple. We need rules. So rule number 1 for me is start with $100 and don't put no more into that account. Because if you've just blown $100 or $1,000 or $10,000, you're going to blow this $100. When I first got into trading, when I had a decent capital, I put $10,000 into a trading account. And within 2-3 months, I'd lost $4,000. So I knew I had to take that money out, reinvest that, and learn the strategy. And I was continuously learning with $100 until I mastered a strategy and I could turn that $100 into a considerable amount more money. And then I had the confidence to add to that account. So if you're blowing accounts and you're not in the right headspace, only start with $100 and you can't put no more in. You cannot fund no more of that account. Now, for me, what really has helped me have specific trading hours. If you're in my community, you know that I speak about I don't like to trade past a certain time. I will look at the charts in the morning, but I don't really look to trade past a certain time in the day or before a certain time in the day. Now, this could be due to the fact whatever markets you're trading in, if you're doing the stocks, if you're doing the Dixie, whatever it may be, the S&P, your time's going to be different from me who does crypto, because crypto is open 24/7. But you still need rules, especially if you've got family and especially if you want to develop the skill. Otherwise, you'll just be consumed with charts and you won't know the balance. So specific trading hours is key for your own headspace and for you to understand and be in a routine. The third rule is only trade 2 assets. You will see many people trading many assets with maybe 100 screens all over the place. You don't really need to trade more than 2 assets. Definitely when you're blowing accounts, you need to get back to basics. So only trade 2 assets if that's you. I only trade one 90% of the time, which is Bitcoin. Yes, sometimes I go into alt, but for 90% of the time, I only day trade Bitcoin. I know its behaviors. I understand the psychology behind it. I understand the way that Bitcoin wants to move. So I'm very familiar with its movements. So only trade 2 assets, one if you really want to, like me, 90% of the time. And then, like I said, finally, only use one strategy that works for you. It's very important that you get this right, because you will jump from strategy to strategy, from person to person all over the internet. Make sure that this is key in your rules. So that are your 4 trading rules that you need to do. So now I'm going to jump over the charts. I'm just going to show you the 4 basics, what I would do, or 3 rules, what I would do when I'm looking to get into a trade. This is a strategy that you can use for the simple strategy. So we'll go over to the charts now and we'll have a look. So what you've got here right in front of you is a clean chart. And this is how I trade. I mark my levels and then I look for a reaction from that. So number 1 for me, this is my strategy, okay? Number 1 for me is I find levels of supports or resistance. So for example, say this was to be my level. Let's make that nice and thick for you. Make that in a red. So I found my level, and this is on the 15-minute because I like to look for trades on the 15-minute. We can see that we've got some resistance there. So that's number 1 rule of my strategy. I find levels of supports and resistance. Now, once we come up to these levels, I'll zoom straight in for you. My next one then is I'm looking for a break of structure. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I go over here and I get my arrow and then I look for a break of structure. Well, I now know that this is a break of structure. You can clearly see that we found support. So the minute that we come down there, I've got to start looking for a break of structure. I then like to bring my Fibonacci out, which is number 3. I pull my fib from the top to the bottom after we break that structure. And then I look for a retest. I look for a retest within that area. Sometimes it's an order block and sometimes it is a Fibonacci. 1, 2, 3 sets of rules. I wait for a level to be hit. I wait for a break of structure, and then I wait for a Fibonacci level. That's a very simple way of trading. And then I look to ride that move all the way to the downside. Now, sometimes it won't go straight away, but it tends to respect and moves in that direction. Sometimes it won't hit the golden pocket and it will only hit the order block. But you need to stick to the golden pocket if that's a strategy that you want to use. You can use the order block, so replace the golden pocket with a order block, for example. This will be your order block, and then you would look and get into that trade as well off the order block. 3 very simple ways of trading, and then you move to the downside. Let's see if we can find another same reaction on the chart. So what are we looking for now? We're looking for here. Again, what can we see here? Let's get this. We've got a horizontal line just here. So we now know that this is going to be resistance. We then pull our fib to our high once we've broken structure, and we're waiting for this level to be hit. And what do we have here? We have, again, another level. We come a little bit lower, but we're looking in that area, and then we move to the upside. So number 1, we've resistance. Number 2, we've broken structure. Number 3, we're waiting for a hit of the golden pocket. And there you go. That's my trade. So that is a simple way of how you can get back to basics on the chart, get back to not blowing your accounts. If you want to know anything more, like you say, make sure you subscribe and like. We've got a lot more content coming your way, and we have a great community as well. So as always, people, God bless, and I will see you in the next video.